So hi, how are you?
I am well. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. It is such a beautiful day outside. Absolutely gorgeous.
Mhm.
So I'm appreciative that you took a minute just to stop in with me and step all outside of your comfort zone and do this. I know, and do this video with me. So can you tell everybody your name, please, and what you do?
Hello. Sure. My name is Rachelle Dancy, and currently I am an academic advisor for Indiana Wesleyan University. A lot of people may know Indiana Wesleyan as a Christian-based university, and I've been there now for 9 months. Prior to that, I had over 11 years experience in sales and recruiting for a previous college.
Oh,
So,
wow, that's
mhm,
awesome.
yes.
And so I had the pleasure of meeting you via LinkedIn.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Yes.
So can you
Mhm.
talk a little bit more about that experience? Because I know a lot of people just kind of like things on LinkedIn. They don't necessarily link up and connect. And you kind of stepped out on faith and jumped out and was able to connect with me. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I believe we connected just for me reading your post. I love the positive vibes that you put out on LinkedIn. And I'm like, who is this sister? I know that we have been following each other. I had been following you for quite a while. And I hadn't seen you for a while, and you kind of resurfaced. And I liked a lot of the posts that you were sharing. And that's how we connected and talked about the importance of women, especially supporting each other and not being afraid to celebrate one another. If you see somebody's out there, she's a go-getter, celebrate her. There's no point of being jealous or competition. And I just really liked your vibe and what you were putting out on LinkedIn, and I was interested to learn more about you.
Well, I appreciate that. And we hopped on a call and kind of really hit it off the moment we started talking.
We did. I felt, I did feel that chemistry with you right off, and I'm very guarded. Most of the time, I have my wall is up, but it was just something about you. I was like, I like her. It was like that big sister feel because I don't have any sisters, but it's always been like a yearning. I'm like, wow. So we did connect right away, and I felt like it was a God thing more
Yes.
than anything. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I felt the exact same way. And I told you I was basically just starting my workshops. And so this has been my actual third workshop that I've done. But we talked about the workshop, and I told you, I'm doing this workshop. It's going to be in Dayton, and it's 5 lies that professional women tell themselves to keep them stuck. And what did you think when you heard that title?
It was like a come to Jesus moment, like, okay, we're on to something here, because I was curious to learn more about what it was. I didn't know, where you were going with that, but it definitely, had my interest to find out what it was, you know, um, and I was able to kind of, relate a lot of what you were talking about in the workshop about the lies we tell ourselves. Everybody does it. We as women, they're lies, but they're not really real,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
So yeah, so how did you feel about it? I know you came into the workshop, we hadn't physically met at all, and you got this nice folder, some sandwiches, and a room full of women that you didn't know. So when you jumped in, how did you feel about the conversation and the flow of the workshop at the Berry Center?
It was empowering from the beginning, I have to admit. Just to be in a group full of powerful women. I mean, a lot of the women I knew already that, work in ministry, that, they have careers, they're well known. It's just like, wow, we all have fears, as great as we are, and how, no matter how much of a mark we've made on the community, it's like we still have fears, we still have lies that we tell ourselves. And so I felt like there was a sense of community among the women. We were encouraging one another, and I just felt like it was a safe space, if I can use that term, to where we could definitely talk about, the areas where we felt stuck, or, where we felt paused, as you would say. I just felt like everybody was genuine and really gave, constructive feedback to one another.
Awesome. And so at the program, at the workshop, I basically invited all of you to join me on this journey through this Jumpstart program, and you said yes.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. And so from there, we started these webinar trainings similar to what we're doing right now with our groups and everything. And we really did a deep dive into into ourselves, into the things that we think about spiritually, emotionally, physically and professionally. So how did you feel about that?
Oh my goodness. It was a challenge. It caused me to be accountable. Your program is not for those who have an idea. If you're not willing to work, if you're not willing to put forth action, it's not for them. And so I really had to put my money where my mouth was. I felt that it was worth investing in myself, but I was like, whoa, she is really making us work. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people out there, they talk a good game, but I felt like you really said, you know what, if you sign up for this program, you're going to get your money's worth as well. I'm going to make you work. I'm going to make you be honest and really face your fears, because for so many of us, I don't think that we were doing that. We were walking around it, but you were like, you're going to do, you're going to do this. And week after week, we had to dig deeper, and really you held us accountable to really face those fears and really come up with the tools to combat those fears and to grow. You challenge us to grow every week.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. That's what it's about for me. It's a lot of questions. I get a lot of questions myself about, well, how did you do it? How did you launch the program? How did you go from being a principal to being this coach? And I'm like, I did the work that I'm asking you to do. And it's not necessarily easy work, but it is meaningful and impactful. It's not fluff work. And I think, like you said, it's really important for me, for you to have a different perception and perspective when you leave the program.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So from when you started, after you were all excited, then the first week, I think it was the second week of where I thought everybody was going to stop, quit the program. What would you say about some of the challenges that, like you said, I challenge you guys to really push through, but how do you think the activities align with those challenges?
Well, the activities, it gave us something to think about. There was never a dull moment. So even though we met weekly via our Zoom meetings, I think every day we were challenged to do an activity, to write things down and to really, just focus. There every week was something that we needed to focus on, which is what I enjoyed. But the activities allowed us to work together. So it formed a bond between us and the other, members, the ladies. We formed a sisterhood, but it challenged us to pick the wound, so to speak. Mm-hmm. If you don't feel, as you would say, you're not going to really push past that pain. And every activity caused us to see that, every setback, every disappointment, the pain, all of it is necessary. But you don't have to stay in that pain. You don't have to, foster that pain, but you have to work towards it. And one thing that you said is, as much focus as we put on our pain, or the energy that we put into that pain, we have to use that same energy to fight against it. So every week it was a fight. So we might have gotten off our Zoom meeting all positive and woo, where to go. But I just know, just from experience, is the minute you say, you know what, I'm going to make a change, I'm going to be different, the enemy fights you. And not even just the enemy, but we can be our own biggest enemy. So a lot of times you're like, okay, I'm excited on the call, but you still have to nourish that. You still have to maintain that. Greatness requires maintenance. Ooh. And I think that's what your workshop did, is like, okay, how do you maintain it? Because you can't just be great. It doesn't happen overnight, but there's work along the way.
Okay, sis, you are killing it. You can come with me anytime, anywhere, because you are killing it. But I just see your energy is even different from when we met. A lot. I know, it's super exciting though. And it's like, if they don't know, but you and I know, you had a lot of things on your mind. There were some critical decisions that you needed to make, and there's still some leaps that you're making and still need to make. But what was the transition from feeling so heavy to all of this joy and that I'm getting now?
Just knowing that I wasn't alone. There's something powerful about knowing that where you were or where you are, someone's been there. And I appreciate your transparency. You've overcome a lot. And just even starting the program, I'm like, that's my coach, because the week we were to start, a tornado had ravaged your home. I'm like, who does that? You know what I'm saying? So if you can overcome what you've come in the past with your personal life, and for this to happen the week of our program to launch, it's just like, okay, if you can do it, that empowered me. Not to sulk or not to feel sorry for myself, but it empowered me to to just break free of whatever it was that was hindering me at that time. And you're right, I do have a ways to go, but I do feel a difference. I feel empowered. I feel like I feel more assertive. There's just certain things in my behavior that I've seen changed over that 40-day period that was not there before. It was there, but you helped to kind of birth that out of me.
I am so excited. Like, I was like, oh my goodness. Cause you didn't know about this call. You were like, hey, I don't know, Felicia, but you are just really bubbling. I'm so excited about your energy and your confidence. And the thing is, and you and I talked about this in the program, I didn't give you any of that because I don't have it to give. But that, like you said, that was already in you. And by talking about things that we can overcome, we can get excited because we don't have to spend every day being so upset and frustrated and waiting on the next bad thing, that we can actually get excited about something new happening.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm like, girl, you better do the dang thing. I am so excited. So I just wanted to know, with that being said, would you recommend this to anyone?
Oh my goodness, yes. I would recommend this to anyone, that, like I said, you don't have to know all of the answers. And in life, it's always good to have somebody that's been where you're going, that can lead you along the way. And then you don't have to, feel intimidated or anything. I never felt that with you. I felt like you really, truly had my best interest at heart. And just even thinking about the Bible, I think about you as one of those people that would help me take the roof off. In Mark 2, there was the paraplegic, and he had 4 friends of faith, and they could not get him to Jesus because it was crowded. So what they did was they helped build a hole in the roof to take the paralytic down to Jesus, and that's where he received his healing. And so sometimes we need those people that's going to take the roof off for us and say, you know what, I know you're not where you need to be yet, but I'm going to help you get there. And I felt like that's what you did for me and the women in the program. I know that you're willing to do that. You're bold. If I was on Survivor, if I was on a game show, you would be my lifeline, because I know that you genuinely care. It's not just about, launching your platform. Everybody's talking about their platform, but you have to be effective, in that platform. Our lives being changed. And I feel like you have the results there. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to put their money into something and there's no result. So wholeheartedly, I would definitely recommend this program to any woman that wants to grow beyond themselves. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I, first of all, thank you so much. I'm blown away. I'm so excited. Y'all don't even know the first couple of conversations she and I had, but just the excitement coming from you and the growth is just so phenomenal. I am blown away. But the program is the Death of a Lie Empowerment Program, and I do a Jumpstart program for personal development, and it's a 40-day program, and it does not say that I'm going to change your life, but we want the impact of the program to be life-changing. And so that's what we do. And we do it via Zoom. So how did you feel about the technology? I know I pushed you guys with Zoom and with Voxer, and I just threw all these different things at you. How did you feel about that coaching piece using technology?
It was something that, again, to help me grow, because I don't do technology. When you said we're going to do this Zoom and we're going to do this live stuff, I wasn't feeling that. I told you, I like the old-fashioned phone call, or if I can meet you face to face. But again, that's the way of the world, so any means necessary. So I grew to like it. I can't say that I loved it, but it was awesome to be able to box you. If I had an aha moment, or if I had an idea, I may not have been able to call you. It could be 11 or 12 o'clock at night, but I could box you with my idea or an aha moment and get that feedback from you right away. So it's definitely effective for communication and things of that nature. Yeah.
Awesome. And so you were just continuously stretched.
Yes.
And one of the things that I wanted to ask you about too is that, we do a group coaching program and we have people share out, but did you feel like you still got individual coaching as well through the program?
I did, because we had our individual, calls. Again, like I said, with Voxer, anytime I, would send you a message, I could expect something right away, something very uplifting. So I did feel like you were accessible throughout the program.
Good. And that's important to me too, for privacy's sake, because one of the things is, even though it's a group coaching program, there's still some things that between you and I as your coach that we don't necessarily want to disclose to the group. And I love people to understand, if you work with me, that you have that option. So if you want to disclose, that's on you. But if not, I'm never going to disclose your information that you share with me as a coach.
Right.
It's very, very important to me. So I got another question. So in the workshop, we talked a lot about fear. And
Yes.
so did did you have a perception of fear before the workshop? And do you have a different perception of fear after the workshop?
I did. A lot of the fears that I had, again, weren't real. You know what I'm saying? It was
Mhm.
temporary. I think we're always going to have fears,
Mhm.
and fear can be good and bad, because if you really care about, what your purpose is, you're going to have some fear to come along with it because of what God has put down inside of us individually. But what I've noticed now after the workshop is that I worry less about perfection and more about purpose. Because when
Oh,
you put your focus more, your focus more so on your purpose, you don't have to worry about doing everything right. And that was my challenge is, well, if it's not going to be like this, or, if it's not going to be to this level, but that was my wrong, I was allowing my fears to put my focus in the wrong areas, if that makes sense.
it makes
But
perfect
focus
sense.
more on purpose. Fear will always be there, and that's what I took away from the program. It's not going anywhere, and that's why you have to put in the work. You have to put into the maintenance, to overcome those fears. And I think what your program did is it just gave me the tools. So if I'm having a down day tomorrow, I can look into my empowerment program, and I have papers beyond notes and papers. You know what I'm saying? I have my affirmations. I have actual tools now that I didn't have before.
Mhm.
Whereas before, I might have 3 or 4 days where I'm just down in the dumps, where I have the necessary tools. I have the affirmations that I wrote. I digged in my word, and I found the scriptures that were gonna, go with along with those affirmations. So again, like you said, it didn't come from you, but you were able to pull and see something individually in each and every one of us to actually face our fears and know how to fight and attack those fears.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm just that's really the question is people ask me about the death of a lie, where did it come from? And it was really admitting that I wasn't okay.
Absolutely.
Even though I looked okay, even though my bank account was good, even though things looked good, I just wasn't okay. And having the courage to say, "Are you okay?" And then literally saying, "No, actually I'm not."
And that was the greatest feeling, is to say, no, I'm not. And to open up to somebody in a no judgment zone, and just say, no, I'm not. And it was freeing, something freeing about that. And I know when we were at the workshop, initially when we met, we talked about how you must reveal to heal. And it's just like, it's something about, confronting and exposing those fears, because they think that they're hidden. But once you expose them, it's life changing. It
Mhm.
definitely is.
And the thing about it is if you don't expose them, they're going to slip out. Like they're going to come out in different ways, and they're coming out one way or the other. So the goal is for us to recognize and acknowledge it. What
Yeah.
would you say to people who don't like the word fear? Because I've heard people say I don't have any fears, or
Oh,
you know,
goodness.
well, I mean they do. I don't. It's not fear. So what do you say to people who are strong women, who are in leadership, who are doing well, who are accomplishing things, and they say they don't have any fears?
I'm almost afraid of someone who says that they don't have any fears. But if you don't, that's fine. But there has to be something, that we learned about the different areas where even the lies that we tell ourselves, when you become a multitasker, when you say you're fine, when you try to do everything on your own, and most successful women, somewhere along the way, you fall into one of those categories. Whether you don't have fears, you're doing something, and you may have the right intention in mind, but you may be doing it the wrong way.
Mhm.
And so there's nothing wrong with learning a more excellent way to do what you're doing to grow. So you may not have fear. I can't speak to that.
Mhm.
But I just know that there's something for everybody in this program. And I
Mhm.
think that you can align up, or you can kind of relate to something to help you grow. We don't tap out. So I don't care how successful you are. If you want to become greater, if you want to continue growing, that takes work. Again, greatness requires maintenance.
Mhm.
So even if you don't have fear, how are you refueling? How are you, nurturing the gift that you have? That would
Mhm.
be my question.
And that's a good point. And I know if you were asking me that, I would have said, well, I go to the gym, or I would have said I go to church. And those are all great, I mean, great things, because you have to have some sort of base and whatever you choose that to be. But there was still something missing that I couldn't quite put my finger on. And so that's what we talk about, that thing that we know is missing, that we can't, it doesn't look like it. Like, it doesn't look like success. It doesn't look like going to the gym. It's something deep within inside us that we feel like we're just not accomplishing. And if we know that if we can get a hold of that, then we know the sky is the limit for what's next.
Absolutely.
And so I'm going to ask you, you've done the Jumpstart program. We got the batteries going. We got the engine revving. So for you, what's next?
Well, we talked about, where I like to see myself going in ministry as far as continuing to empower women and encourage women. So you put a huge stack of activities in my lap of homework and research that I'm doing, with my program, Heal for Real. And that's something that I look, again, to empower women, to help them, just really recognize and reveal their hurts, the challenges that they face, respond to them, and just soar. So that's basically what I'm looking to do, is to ask God for wisdom and guidance, and where we're going to go with this program. But that's the next step from here into, and I know that you have some other programs as well to help me to continue growing within your coaching network.
I'm excited for you to say your program, some people that you're going to help, because like the thing you said is, this is about you. This is not just about, I'm not the only person that's ever going to coach or have a program. Like, I want you to have whatever God gave to you, and I want it to be great and phenomenal and wonderful. So I'm so excited about the invitation at some point to come support you when you launch Heal for Real, because it is the way you're giving it today. Somebody is gonna heal for real when you get an opportunity to go in front of whoever he sends you in front of. So I'm super excited for you and your energy.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And so it has been such a pleasure talking with you today. Thank you for joining me to talk about the Death of a Lie Empowerment Jumpstart program and just your experience. And I know this is not the last you're going to see of both of us. I don't know when you're going to see us together, but I know that you will, because she's got some wonderful things that she's getting into. So thank you so much for your time. The next program, I'm doing the same program again at the Berry Center, August 20th at 6 p.m. August 20th at 6 p.m. So you are more than welcome to join us again and come on in and, give a testimonial if you like to, and, contribute to the conversation. I'd love to have you there, but I'm going to keep doing the work, because I know that there's healing in the work, and healing belongs to no one person. It's for everybody. And I want to continue to share it for whomever will listen and have it. So I hope I can see you again at the Berry Center on August 20th. It's a Tuesday, and we're going to be in the building casting down those lies, girl.
Yes, I'll be there.
That's awesome. Yes. Yes. And bring a friend with you. And I'm going to encourage people just to listen to this and take your time and take your notes. She is not a person who just jumps into anything. She's not a person who just willy-nilly tries everything. And so you're talking to a confident woman, a woman who was honest enough to talk about her truth and then share with us her triumph as well. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
All right. You have a great evening, and I'll talk with you soon.
Felicia, have a good evening.
Thank you. I am Felicia Charlton, your personal and professional development coach, and I challenge you to think about what lies have to die so that you can live.